So now, y'all, I really can sing. I really can sing. I'm not going to sing on my channel though, but I really actually can sing. My whole family can sing. Because when I got to the end, another plot twist. And then it was a cliffhanger. And I was like, okay, I know she just didn't do this to me. I know she just didn't do this to me. Because this book, y'all, oh my gosh, I cannot even explain to y'all how good this book was. The book was boring. It was boring. Yeah. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. So today I'm doing my reading wrap-up video for the month of September. And I've been trying to do this video for like 2 days, but I wanted to wait until I finished my last book because I really was going to do it early because I didn't think that I was going to finish the last book, but I just decided, let me wait until today to actually just film the video. So I literally just got home from work and I was like, while this is fresh on my mind, let me go ahead and do my reading wrap up for September. So I'm not gonna delay. I'm just gonna go ahead and start the video. So now I need to get my phone because I need to look at my list. So usually what I do for the month is how I track my reading and how I track my ratings. I don't know if y'all can see it, but I usually create like just a simple template on Canva, and this is how I track my books and what I'm reading, what I've DNF'd, and I usually post this on my social media. I usually post this on my Eliza Journals account because y'all know I have 2 Instagrams. However, I'm really thinking about just merging my Instagrams together because I'm too old to be trying to man 2 Instagrams. So anyway, but so I'm gonna like go by this so that I can actually go in order. So the first book that I read for the month was The Crash by Frida McFadden. So that deals with a girl named Tegan. She's 8 months pregnant, but what ends up happening is she ends up getting in a crash, and then she's pretty much rescued by this couple named Hank and Polly. But while she's there seeking shelter, she ends up finding out some dangerous hidden secrets behind her actually being in these people's home. So I actually rated this book 4 stars because, y'all, when I tell you it was very fast paced, the character development was literally amazing. And I think that's one of the things that I've enjoyed about reading Frida McFadden's books is that she really knows how to keep her audience engaged. And when I tell you, I was literally turning the page and turning it because I really wanted to get to the end. And then what usually hits me is the plot twist. And sometimes when there's a plot twist, then there's something else that was totally unexpected comes up in the end. And when I tell you the ending was definitely unexpected, I did not realize the person that was literally trying to kill her was literally close to home. It was amazing. So even though it wasn't a 5-star, I still think it was an amazing book because I love fast-paced thrillers. And I think that the reason why I didn't rate it like a 5-star is because after the author basically kind of gave us hints of like what was going on, I kind of felt like the ending was going to be predictable anyway. So it's almost like I felt like I knew what was going to happen in the end, and then what I knew happened in the end, it actually happened. So I kind of felt like the ending was a little bit weak, but I'm telling you right now, if you've never read one of Frida McFadden's books, it definitely is a book to read. So now the next book that I actually read, it is a YA dystopian thriller. And I actually picked this one up at Ollie's, and I had this book in the Ollie's haul. This was also in my September TBR video. So if you want to actually go see like the entire synopsis of what that book is about, I will link that video below in the description. But Snow Globe is actually, I want to say, is really like a Korean dystopian thriller. And it was supposed to have been between like Hunger Games and Squid Game. But when I actually read it, it was more of a storytelling type of thriller. And it was nothing thrilling about it, because I'm thinking going into this book, oh, it's going to be like Squid Game and Hunger Games, and everyone's going to be like fighting to the death, and everyone's going to be playing games that gets them kicked off the show. So basically, these residents live in this snow globe, and they have all these resources inside of this snow globe, and they just have access to like schools and foods and medicines. So everyone is watching them who lives outside of this snow globe. So it's kind of like Hunger Games. I think that is like the element of what they meant by like it's between Squid Game and Hunger Game, because it has that televised element to it, but it still didn't give me like that Hunger Game vibe that I was like hoping that I would see within the book. So it was more character driven than it was plot driven. So then they seek out this girl to replace one of the residents inside of the snow globe that was actually supposed to have been killed. But when the girl actually gets there, I forgot her name, y'all, because I read this at the beginning of the month. But when she gets into the snow globe, she starts learning about all these secrets, especially things surrounding her identity and how she actually came to be. But you definitely can tell there is a second book because of how the author set up the foundation for like a second book to come. So there is a second book. However, I won't be reading it because I thought the book was like entirely too slow, and I was literally hoping for more interaction and more action versus like this world and character building. I just thought towards the middle to the end, it was boring. Like, it was so boring. And I'm thinking, okay, when is the Squid Game part coming up? Like, because I'm ready to get into some action. I'm ready to get into some competition, some competitiveness, and there was none. At the end of the book is pretty much when like this whole plan comes into place. But y'all, I didn't like it. So I literally gave it a 2-star, and I don't think this is something that I would read again because I just lost interest in it at the end. I don't think that I would literally pick up the second book. So now I know y'all probably like, girl, you read too much Freida McFadden. But yes, I did read another Freida McFadden book, which was called Ward D. And I actually enjoyed the book. So a girl named Amy is basically, she ends up getting stuck on Ward D. But really, she's actually doing her rounds because she's a medical student. But what no one knows is that her friend is actually on Ward D. And throughout the whole entire night, there's all these strange things happening, and everyone is making it seem like she is the one losing her mind. But y'all, when I tell y'all, this book was so good, it was literally so good. I think one of my favorite parts of this particular book is the tension between Amy and her friend, as well as the distrust between Amy and all of the residents. And then Amy began to like put together like the pieces of everything that's going on, but by the time she actually puts these pieces together of what's actually going on, y'all, it's definitely too late. So I really love the fast pace. It is definitely a tense thriller. However, I actually gave this a 3-star because the ending still was predictable. And I think for me, I don't really like predictable endings. It's like, I want you to give me hints, but I want to be my own detective. I want to investigate this myself. And I feel like every single time that Freida McFadden gives her audience like the killer on a silver platter, to me, I feel like it takes away the ending. It takes away from the enjoyment of the book, because I was really, y'all, when I tell y'all, I was so invested. I was so invested in this book. And then I want to say 80% in is when the author, she ties it all together. And I'm like, really? I'm like, I kind of knew this already. For this particular book, I think I was more disappointed in this one because I really wanted the ending to be stronger, and the ending was like a total flop for me. This is probably an unpopular opinion, but it was a total flop for me. So I actually gave this one 3-star, but it's still a great read. Yes, I would recommend that you read it because, number one, she's an immaculate and great writer. And y'all know I have undiagnosed ADHD, and when I tell you I was invested in every page, I really was. Okay, so then I read Fog and Fury by Rachel Hall. I actually like this book. So I have read 3 of her books, and I guess, I can go ahead and review all 3 of them together behind each other. I should have did Freedom McFadden's books like that. But Fog and Fury is about a former detective named Sunny. She ends up coming to California, moving her mother to California because her mother has dementia, and she works for like her uncle. But y'all know how we say uncles, in families we're saying, oh, that's my uncle or that's my godfather, when really they have no blood relation to us. But she ends up working as a private detective for her godfather. And this godfather, like previously, like knew her dad while he was living. So while she's working a case of a missing dog, like a poodle or a dog, I'm just like, really? And that, y'all know what, that irked me. I was like, so we're investigating missing dogs. I was like, what? Really? Y'all gave her a missing dogs case, when whoever's dog is missing can just go buy another one. So, but anyway, so while she's investigating a missing poodle for this couple, a 17-year-old African-American male was found murdered. And then throughout this case, Sunny ends up being like a consultant to the family because they realized that she was a person of color and they wanted someone of color to kind of represent their family. She ends up poking her nose where it doesn't belong, and then she starts getting like all of these threats. For me, the most turning point in the book that made me realize that I wanted to read the second book was in the end when she figured out who her attacker was. And because she was a previous detective, all her detective skills came full force. And when she realized who her attacker was, I knew that I knew that I need to read book 2. So book 2 actually comes out next November. It's called Miss and Malice or something like that. But I'll put it on the screen. And I really can't wait to read that one, because if y'all have been looking at my videos, y'all know that I love mysteries, and I love when mysteries contain that detective, investigative, legal, procedural elements in it. Absolutely love it. So I gave this book a 4-star because I really loved it. It is definitely a great read. It is a little slow. It's medium paced. It's slow to medium pace. It's not fast paced at all until the ending, but I actually enjoyed it. So then I read We Lie Here by Rachel Housel Hall again. So this is one of her previous books that came out before Fog and Fury. So this one is about a girl named Yara. She comes to Palmdale for her parents' 20th anniversary because they never had an anniversary like dinner before. So what ends up happening is she meets someone who says that some information that she has that they have for her would change her life, and she wants Yara to meet her, but Yara ends up not meeting her, and the next day they find her dead. So then Yara goes on this journey to find out what her cousin was trying to tell her. So she ends up finding out all these hidden and family secrets. I think the turning point for me in this book is, I'm not going to tell y'all because if I tell you, I'm going to actually spoil it. But one of the most turning points for me was when she finds out this secret about her family and she's forced to confront it. Y'all, this book is supposed to have been a thriller, okay? And I love thrillers. I love mysteries, but it was nothing. It was more of family secrets, family drama, family gossip than it being in a thriller context. It was nothing thrilling about it at all. So I felt like the book was more character driven than plot driven. And it was more so about Yara really finding out her true identity through like these hidden secrets. And really this shouldn't even be a thriller. It really shouldn't be a thriller at all. So this one was a 2-star because I don't think that the author's thoughts were articulated very well in this book at all. So the next book by Rachel Housel Hall was They All Fall Down. And this book is about a 45-year-old woman named Miriam, and she ends up on this private island under false pretenses with 6 other strangers. But what ends up happening is they all start dying due to like some dark secrets that each of them holds. So I really think that the characters were morally chaotic. It was so many things going on in this book. I literally read to page 60 I read 6 chapters and I was still lost because there were subplots. There was something going on between the daughter, the ex-husband, and the new wife. It's literally like the author was trying to merge 2 different types of plots together, but it was just not executed effectively. It wasn't smooth. It was not a smooth transition at all. So it was going from the daughter telling the mother that she hated her, and then the ex-wife is saying, you need to move on. It's so many issues going on at one time. I am literally like, what is going on right now? And I felt like the narrative just was not cohesive. It just, the wording, the whole wording and the structure of the book to me was so confusing. I know that Rachel House at Hall has been writing for a while, but I think her previous books have a little bit more fluff than the books that she's coming out with now. And I know that she actually just came out with a fantasy, but I'm afraid to read that because her books, for me, y'all, have literally been hit or miss, because her ideas that she has in her mind are not articulated well throughout the transitioning of her book. So I think that if I do decide to read her new book, it will literally have to be on Kindle, and I would have to be able to download that for free. So I ended up DNFing They All Fall Down because I could not get through another chapter. I did not want to suffer. I'm the type of person, if this is not making sense to me, I'm DNFing it. And that's exactly what I did. I'm not telling y'all not to read it. I'm just telling you, for me, the ideas she had in her mind just did not articulate well within the book. The next book that I attempted to read was A Flicker in the Dark, and I actually have a video coming out about why I actually DNF'd this book. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the reason why I DNF'd this book was because I did not enjoy the individual dialogue. There was no interaction whatsoever, and I have to have interaction and dialogue within my book, and it really was just her telling her story, and I didn't enjoy that. I kind of felt like the plot was being dragged out. The book was boring. It was boring. Yeah. So then we have The Deep End by Allie Hazelwood. This is actually my first book of Allie Hazelwood's, and I wanted to read this book because it just seemed like it would be interesting. So this book involves 2 swimmers. One is a swim captain, and the other one is coming back to the swim team from an injury. So it's about Scarlett and a guy named Lucas. So Lucas and Scarlett end up sexually hooking up, basically friends with benefits. But y'all, their characters were so problematic. I did not like the characters. I loved the book. I loved the writing style of the book. The book, Allie Hazelwood can write. I loved the plot, but I did not like the character development. Scarlett was very submissive and subservient, and I didn't like that about her character. She didn't know how to identify boundaries, and she didn't know how to set them. And I felt like her childhood trauma her abusive childhood trauma really interfered with the relationship that her and Lucas had, because Lucas was very aggressive, and although he's kinky or into that BDSM, the same way he reacted towards Scarlett in the bedroom is the same way he was in public. He also therapeutically manipulated Scarlett with her feelings, and I didn't enjoy that. And as a person, I work with children with mental health, and even though people might say, hey, you know, that book wasn't that deep, but I just did not like the patriarchal tone of this book at all. It just made it seem like Scarlett had no voice, and Lucas took control over her every being. And I did not enjoy that. And I was more disappointed in her because she was willing to allow him to continue to treat her the way that he wanted to treat her, because that's what she was used to in her childhood. So I did not enjoy this book at all. I don't even think I rated this on my Goodreads at all. I don't know, y'all. I haven't even rated this yet. It's like I want to like this book because I like certain parts of the book, but then I just have a problem with the characters, and I don't like how I didn't like the character. So I don't really know how to rate this book. Oh, and then y'all, I do have the physical books. I've just been talking. I have not even shown y'all the physical books, but this was Snow Globe. So I had to stop and show y'all. I do have the physical copies. So this was Snow Globe. Such a pretty book. But I don't think that I'm actually going to keep this. I think I may put this in the free little library because I know I'm not going to read book 2. And then this was my Allie Hazelwood. So if y'all could see, I do tab books, but you probably can't see that because it's the same color. But this was Deep End. And then the other book that I DNF'd, this was also in my DNF video. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about this book, but this book is about 3 New Yorkers who actually become living avatars in order to save the city from an enemy. I was confused with this book from the beginning. I have no idea what the author was talking about at all. I think let me see. I don't even know. I got to page 30. I got to page 30 and I literally had to DNF this because the prologue was literally 20 minutes. 20 minutes of a prologue giving us historical information on the previous avatar. Y'all, the narrative was just so chaotic and I could not connect with the book. And when I can't connect with the book, I can't understand the plot of the book within the context of the story, I have to DNF it. I was like, what is going on right now? It was so many conversations going on within the book. I just didn't understand like what was actually going on. I'm not telling y'all not to read this, but let me know in the comments if I just need to like start over from the beginning, because maybe I was not in the right frame of mind to actually pick this up. And y'all know, if y'all saw my Second in Charles haul, I really wanted to read this book. I even have the second book and I really wanted to read this book. I really wanted to love it, but I had to DNF it. And the writing structure is so new to me because this is a new author. I just don't know whether I need to hard DNF this or soft DNF this. And then I read on Goodreads as well. And I saw that some people loved it. Some people didn't love it. And then some people were like, they hated it. So really the Goodreads reviews was like really mixed reviews. And so I'm just like really in a hard place right now because I literally just bought this book. It was $13. And I would hate to have to put this in a free little library because I don't like it. So I don't know if I want to pick this back up again. I think I may wait a month or two and try to pick this back up again and just start over from the prologue and just see what happens, because I really want to get into this. I'm really intentional on getting into African-American fantasy, but this was just not it. And someone told me that I need to check out, I think it's 5th Season by N.K. Jemisin. So I'm actually going to check that out. But because I just didn't have a good experience with this, I'm probably just going to find that on my Kindle for free to see if I can like download that for free from Kindle Unlimited, because I can't be buying books and I'm like DNFing books. Like I hate when that happens, and I know that I cannot be the only one that happens to. Next book is Onyx Storm, which I actually did a reading vlog for this, so I won't go into too much detail. I will just link all these videos that I did reading vlogs for below so that y'all can catch them at your leisure, which would also be like my earlier videos as well. But I absolutely loved Onyx Storm. This is the 3rd book in the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. And when I tell you, this is one adult fantasy that I literally would treasure. Right now, I'm looking for 4th Wing. I'm probably just going to order it on Amazon because Book Outlet had the book. But when I went back to check out, someone had stole it out of my cart. But I absolutely love this series. I love the magical systems within the book. I love how Scarlett, she bonds with her writers, and everything that happened in this book, y'all, just made me love it even more. And I think that I understand like the magical systems and the world building a lot more in this particular fantasy, because y'all know for September I was genre swapping. So I wanted to read some adult fantasies or even YA fantasies that were out of my comfort zone of reading thrillers. And I just enjoyed the banter between Xaden and Scarlett. Like, their relationship is so dreamy. I mean, how he sacrificed anything for Violet. He sacrificed anything for Violet. And that's one of the things that I absolutely loved about this book. And I love the topics of family and sacrifice and love and what we would do for love, and love conquers all. Y'all, when I tell you, this is one adult fantasy I absolutely loved. I just love how not Scarlett, why do I keep calling this girl Scarlett? It's because I'm thinking about deep end Violet Sorrengail. I just love how Violet Sorrengail in this particular book, you literally see her maturity from Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and then Onyx Storm. Because I think from Fourth Wing to Onyx Storm, I think it probably had been maybe 2-3 years. So you can definitely not see her physical strength, but also her mental strength and emotional strength as well. And I really love how she just came into herself. So I also kind of see this as like a coming of age, because you can see her grow up into like a writer, like a real writer. And I absolutely love it. When I tell y'all, this is an amazing adult fantasy. So if you're not familiar with fantasies, or you're intimidated, or you're probably like, hey, I'm intimidated by fantasies, when I tell y'all, this one is so simple to grasp. The concepts are easy to grasp. It's like you're reading a YA, but it's adult. I'm going to recommend this for even beginner fantasy readers, because if I can understand the magical systems and world building, I think you can as well. Definitely a 5-star, hands down. So the next one is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This is my first book by V.E. Schwab. And when I tell you, y'all, I actually enjoyed this book. However, I do think it was boring. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion. I don't know, but it was boring. I'm going to be honest with y'all. It was so boring. So midway, 50%, I literally had to switch to the audio. So I had to do some immersive reading because it was completely boring. I was literally like falling asleep reading this. But when I tell y'all, the structure and the writing style of V.E. Schwab is literally amazing. I felt like I was reading literary fiction. So in about 50 years, the new generation will probably slide this on the shelf by Jane Austen, because of the literary structure of the book. It was so lyrical. Her writing style is very, very, very poetic. I promise y'all, it literally made me feel like I was reading like a Jane Austen book or Charles Dickens. Like, that's, and I mean, maybe I am going crazy, but that's just how, I'm not saying she writes like them. I'm just saying like her writing style is so literary, and it just gave me literary fiction. So The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is about a girl named Addie, or Adeline, and she ends up making a deal with I'm just gonna say the devil, but I was gonna say the god of the dark. But she ends up making a deal with the devil in 1714 in France, and then the unintended consequences that she doesn't know. So this is the twist, is that there are unintended consequences that no one remembers who she is. So then 300 years later, so basically in 2014, she ends up meeting a bookkeeper named Henry, who actually knows exactly who she is. However, the turning point for me was that there were also unintended consequences for him. Y'all, when I tell you though, it was boring, but it was also a beautiful story, because I love the dual timelines, and the dual timeline structure that she uses in her book works for her, because she's given us a recount of Addie's experiences in her life as no one remembering who she is. And when I tell you, the tone and the mood of the book is really sad. So this is not some like upbeat book. It's a very sad book. And it does not give you a warm feeling. It just kind of gives you a very dull, achy feeling in your heart, because of all the things that she has experienced as no one remembering her. Literally, you could meet her and then 20 seconds later, you would look at her and be like, who are you? And also, one of the topics that comes up in this book, I kind of identify as there are some like religious context also in this book. And I'm saying that because the God of the dark is like taunting her. And it kind of puts me in like a Christianity perspective, because, you know, everything has to have balance. So you have dark and light. And because she ends up praying to the God of the dark, she ends up getting these unintended consequences. And she's basically being tortured throughout throughout her entire experiences of living like these 300 years. Y'all, I mean, it literally is worth the read. However, I would suggest that if you read this, I would suggest, if you have the means, listening to this on the audio version, because it really brought the character to life. Now, the one thing that I did not like so much was that it was so literary, to where it was like we were being told a story. So instead of the character speaking in first person for most of the book, it's as we're being told her story. And then there is a little bit of conversation between the God of the dark and between Henry. So you do get that conversational piece between some of the characters that are within the book, but a lot of this is storytelling, which why I said it kind of gives you that literary fiction vibe. However, I really think this is a beautiful story. It is a beautiful story of sacrifice, love, family. And one of the things that truly I learned from really reading this is you need to be careful what you ask for. Because sometimes the things that you're asking for, you don't look at the whole perspective of what you're asking for. You're just asking, like if you're a Christian, not trying to, you know, but I'm a Christian. And if you're a Christian, sometimes we ask God for things, but we don't know what we have to sacrifice in order for God to bless us with those things. And that is literally something that I got from this, because I do feel like the tone of this is also, I don't want to say biblical, but it does have like some religious aspects to it. And in order for you to really, really understand what I mean behind the darkness chasing her the entire book, you would literally have to pick this up and read. To be honest, this book has been living rent-free in my head since I finished it today. I have not rated it because I'm having a hard time rating it. Like I like the book. It's not, to me, I feel like it's a 5-star, but because I wanted to experience it more in first person from the FMC, I kind of think that it's like a 4-star. But anyway, the book was actually good. It's very slow, y'all. So if you want a slow literary burn, this is a really, really great book to read. And I would suggest that you do pick it up, because I actually learned some things from this book. So now, y'all, I really can sing. I really can sing. I'm not going to sing on my channel though, but I really actually can sing. My whole family can sing. But I don't like singing in front of people. Y'all probably never hear me sing. But anyway, so now this particular book, I saved this one for last, because this book, y'all, oh my gosh, I cannot even explain to y'all how good this book was. When I decided to buy this book, it was on sale. Well, they had a 50% off sale in August at Books A Million. And I was like, I keep seeing this book. Now, this is definitely a popular book. I was like, I keep seeing this book. I keep seeing it. So when I ended up picking up Onyx Storm, I saw this particular book. And I was like, I'm just going to pick it up. It's only $15. I can use my 25% off discount to get this book. So I ended up only paying like $30 for Onyx Storm in this particular book. However, I did not know what this book had in store for me. I knew that this month I had to read it. Y'all, when I tell you I am still thinking about this book, I am still thinking about this book. Y'all, this book lives rent-free in my head and has for a week. Okay. And I know some people probably like, that book was not that good. It was good to me. Okay, so I'm not a big fantasy reader, but this book, y'all, was so good. This is Shield and Sparrow by Devney Perry. This is my first book that I've read of hers, and I was literally looking for something that could top Fourth Wing, that could top Iron Flame, that could top Onyx Storm. Now, I'm not saying it tops those, but they're neck and neck. They're side by side. So when I move back home and I put these books on the shelf, this gonna be right by Fourth Wing, my Empyrean series, because this book was everything. This, y'all, I'm not joking. This book was everything. It's okay. So let me tell you about the book, because I did not do a reading vlog for this. So this book is about a girl named Odessa. She is the princess of Quintus. She ends up being forced to marry like this like monster hunter, and then she's whisked away to like his kingdom. However, the turning point in this book for me was when the prince that she thinks she married, she didn't. Oh my gosh. Like, y'all, I was like, what? But one of the things that I loved about this book was that I kind of felt like this book was also, it kind of dealt with a little bit of coming of age, because as long as she was in her father's kingdom, they basically treated her like a child. But when she left the kingdom, because she was married to this prince, so when she left the kingdom, she really began to come into herself. She began to really tap into like her strength and who she is. And they even taught her how to use a sword. She wanted to learn how to fight. She really showed her strength in this book. And I love Odessa's character. She wasn't aggressive, but she was very firm and very direct, and she knew what she wanted, and she knew how to get it. She was very sneaky. She's very stubborn, and I absolutely love her character. I enjoyed her character so much. She made me laugh so much. The other character that is in this book that I really enjoyed was Ransom. Ransom, y'all, is now my book boyfriend. Okay. I absolutely love his character. I just absolutely love the banter that Odessa and Ransom had. It was so amazing. And when I tell y'all, the action and the world building and the character building in this book was flawless. Like, Devney Perry did no wrong in this book. I mean, even though the book was, let me see, it was like 500. It was 511 pages. When I tell you, everything that was in this book was totally needed. The 500 pages of work. You know how sometimes you can have a book that's 500 pages of fluff? There was no fluff. It was just constant plot twist, world building, action, character building. I just absolutely love this. I'm telling y'all, I was totally amazed at how good this was. I did not expect this to be good, because it actually started off super slow. I was like, Lord Jesus, this book's slow. But as it starts to pick up and she's actually learning about all these secrets, not just about herself, but also about her family, it just made the book so much better. And y'all, when I tell you this was a 6-star read, this was a 6-star read for me. There is a second book that is coming out, and I cannot wait till it come out. I literally cannot wait. I'm so excited that there's another book coming out, because when I got to the end, another plot twist, and then it was a cliffhanger, and I was like, okay, I know she just didn't do this to me. I know she just didn't do this to me. But anyway, those are the books that I actually read. I was trying to be intentional on just really reading my physical books this particular month, because y'all know that I read a lot of audiobooks at work because it just keeps my mind busy. And I have undiagnosed ADHD, and I can't sit very long. I need something that's going to keep me entertained. But I am super excited about all the physical books I actually read. I didn't even read anything on my Kindle. Well, I did read something on my Kindle. Did I read something on my Kindle? I don't even think I read anything on my Kindle. because I really want to get more into reading my physical books. I keep buying them, but I'm not reading them because something else comes out and I get that. Y'all already know how that is. But anyway, if you stay to the end of the video, let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know how you like them. What was your rating? Y'all know y'all can find me on Goodreads. All my information is linked below. All these books that I mentioned today are actually linked below. They're always linked below in the description, just in case you actually want to check them out or you want to buy them. However, I do use affiliate links. So sometimes I do get commission, like if you purchase a book, which is no extra cost to you. But you already know what to do. Put a book emoji in the comments. Until next time, thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.